Hey class and Instructor Roberts, this is Jonathan Calhoun. I'm here to make my presentation on my chosen topic, Vent Enter Isolate Search, for the Fire Instructor class at Athens Tech Spring Semester 2018. Coming to you tonight from Bethlehem, Georgia, from my residence in my 13-year-old daughter's bedroom. It's cute in here, right? It's the only place I could find enough privacy to do this. So let's get started. VEIS, Get in the Window, is the title of my presentation. Brought to you by Jonathan Calhoun, Hall County Fire Service Company 14A, Firefighter 2 Paramedic, Field Training Specialist. I've got 15 years total experience in fire service, several as a volunteer, and about a decade career now. Work for Hall County, who we're about the 5th largest department in the state. If you're unfamiliar with my organization, we have 16 stations, around 400 firemen. We're getting ready to grow again. They're asking for 175 new positions this year, which I don't think we'll get. The purpose of this class is to identify the need and the advantages of vent, enter, isolate, search, discuss the risk versus benefit of performing this tactic, discuss the required equipment, discuss and perform the procedure if we had the hands-on component available to us, had the proper burn building and equipment so we could go out and do some field training, which is the only way this class is technically going to work. The need for VEIS is basically because in our job, rescue is paramount. The number one objective that we're going to try to complete, whether you look at any of the acronyms like RECOVS or some of the others, rescue is always at the top. Rescue is not an action of opportunity, it's an action that we have to perform now. Not every time that we go to a house fire is it going to be a viable chance for rescue. However, is pushing through the front door and using traditional search tactics always going to be our best option? And the answer is absolutely not. Rescue is how we make our living. It's what we train for. It's what we all dream of doing, deep down in our hearts, the people that have been in this a long time. I mean, if you've ever made a grab and been successful, that's awesome. I'm sure the feeling was unbelievable. But, whether you want to admit it or not, everybody in this profession has a little bit of a glory boy side to them, and dreams of being headline of the newspaper, firefighter rescues children from house fire. But pushing through the front door is not going to be the most effective way a lot of times. I mean, if fire involvement's heavy downstairs, right by the front door, and you've got tenable conditions upstairs, why are we not just going upstairs? The vent, enter, isolate, search has been a debated topic because it's considered a high-risk, high-reward skill. I kind of disagree with that because through a good 360 size up and efficient training method to make us proficient at this skill, we can eliminate a lot of the risk. The risk comes from people that are just trying to wing it. This is a skill that can be performed with one man, two men, or more. Preferably more than one, but if you're at a smaller or a volunteer department somewhere rural that doesn't have the ability, you're going to be more effective throwing a roof ladder by yourself, or an extension ladder if you're competent in that skill also, clearing this window and getting in and searching bedrooms. We know from our general idea of architecture and floor plans and things like that, that a lot of the houses in our first dues are the same. A lot of them are built by the same builders, and you run a medical call and you look around and you see where bedroom doors are at, and you go in those bedrooms and things like that. So typically you can deduce from the size of the window, the location on the house, where victims are likely to be. So that's the introduction. Rescue is important, and it's how we gain public trust. They're the ones that pay our salaries with taxes. We need to gain public trust. Time is key in every rescue situation. Things such as knowledge your first due are necessary and can help save time. And as always, the response starts before dispatch. So keep your equipment in working order. Check everything daily. Make sure it's good, ready to go, and ready to operate when you need it. Simple. back to firefighter 101 stuff. Training, this is a skill that can save lives. It is necessary to train at this skill to become efficient at this skill. Just like any other things that we're trying to do, this is going to take some time. We've got to get trained up on it. We've got to go contact our training divisions, go to the burn building, throw ladders, get in the window, practice this stuff, because this stuff can help save lives. The equipment required to perform VEIS, we're going to need full PPE and SCBA, of course, minimum 14-foot ladder, a tick, a set of irons or another hand tool, and a set of balls, because you've got to have some testicular fortitude sometimes to go in some of these conditions. We'll talk about that more in a minute. VEIS, we're going to use it when the conditions appear to be viable upon 360. If it doesn't look viable, we're not going to try it. I mean, if it's got, fire shooting out 100% involvement, it's not going to be effective, because that is not a tenable situation for any victim that's inside that residence, so it's not going to be tenable for firefighters. But if you've got some smoke coming from a window, you think that's pretty much a bedroom window, if it's still contained, let's go get it. Good 360 is imperative. We've got to size up these conditions. We've got to size up this building, and it's going to help us determine our mode of operation, the need for rescue, as well as the most effective tactics for fire attack and for rescue operations. So if a front door push is the most effective, then that's what we're going to do. But in this situation, if we have heavier involvement downstairs and we need to go on upstairs, then that's what we're going to do. So when we go to perform this skill, we've got to assemble our proper equipment, get everything together. We just talked about it's pretty simple list of equipment. We don't need a whole lot. Bring yourself, bring your ladder, bring your tools, bring your tick. Let's go. This skill, like I said before, can be performed with one person, but we need to utilize proper ladder carry techniques. We need to throw it the right way. We need to climb it the right way. Those three things are pretty important. Keep you from getting injured. If you get injured on your way in, then you're not going to make a rescue, and we're just going to have another problem on our hands. Take the window, but do not take the window with the tip of the ladder. This is an old school way of thinking for VEIS now, since they've added the term isolate. Used to be believed that we're saving time by throwing that ladder into the window, busting the window with the tips. When we get to the top, we're clearing the rest of the windowsill, going in. Not the case. With all the new UL NIST studies about flow path, all we're doing is creating another flow path. So we're trying to keep that fire in check as long as we can. So if we go up and make a vent hole, that smoke's fighting to come out. So we need to keep it intact as long as we can. Once we get to the top, we're going to bust the window with the tool. We're going to clear our seal. We're going to go in. That brings in the importance of isolating the compartment. We must isolate the compartment to keep the compartment that we're working in tenable for the victims and tenable for ourselves. So next step is going to be take the window. Step 2, we're going to sweep and we're going to sound the floor. So we're sweeping before we sound, because victims have been known to be underneath windows. We don't want to smash the victim's head with a Halligan. So let's go ahead, sweep, sound, enter. Alright, once we get in, rescuer number 2, if he's available, is going to come up the ladder with the tick. He's going to orient the search. We're going to look, he's going to find the door to the compartment, call it out to firefighter 1, who then makes his way directly to the door. Looks down the hallway in each direction, isolates the compartment, at which time he's able to locate the victim, if there is a victim available or a victim involved. So he's going to isolate the compartment, directed by the man on the ladder. Locate the victim, prepare the victim for removal. If firefighter 1 in the compartment is able to get the victim to the window without any assistance, that's fine. If he needs to call for firefighter 2 to come in, that's also fine too, depending on the size of the victim, location in the room, obstructions in the way, all those kind of things. So once we locate the victim, we're preparing for removal. We're going to have to get the victim out the window and down the ladder. All this stuff needs to be trained on too. I mean, this is dangerous stuff, for the firefighter and the victim. If the victim is still alive, we don't want to injure him any farther by, throwing him out a second-story window. So once the victim is brought down the ladder, turned over to EMS, End of story. Good job. You guys just performed VIN enter isolate search. In summary, this is a high risk, high reward tactic, but with proper training, it can be an effective addition to your toolbox. And get in the window, you might just save a life.